Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a second installment of the Would I Repurchase These 10 Palettes video. So this was a video series that was started by Dolly Mama Beauty here on YouTube, and then Annette's Makeup Corner started doing it, and I tried it, and a bunch of other people have been doing it lately, and it's a really fun video. So last time I did this, instead of picking the 10 palettes myself, I let my husband go up to my bookshelf full of palettes and pick 10 at random, although he definitely did not pick them at random, and I had him do it again this time. So I'm really excited to see what's in the stack in front of me and see if I would repurchase any of them. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I am a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a soft spot for indie makeup and colorful makeup, which I'm sure will be in this pile. And I have new content every week, so I'd love to have you subscribe. Okay, so you might hear some sounds. I just started cooking dinner. I'm making beans, so I have beans boiling on the stove. So you might hear the sounds of the stove. I'm actually not sure how well that'll pick up. But I've had a day where I'm not as fatigued as I've been and don't have anything on my schedule. So this is the third video I'm filming, and will probably go up next week. And as a side note, I just got my ColourPop Winnie the Pooh order. So I'm super excited to try that. I'll probably film with that tomorrow because it's now 4:30. I already have makeup on. I have dinner to cook. So expect a video of that. Actually, that'll probably be up before this. So I had, once again, like I said, I had my husband pick 10 palettes. Looking at the stack here, I think there might actually be 11. But I'm gonna go through and see if I would repurchase these. So they're all stacked in a big pile. So I'm just gonna work my way down. So the one on the very top is the Call of the Mist palette from Sigil Inspired. I would 100% buy this again. So I love Sigil. I'm really sad that you can't buy from them right now because they're a Russian indie brand if you haven't bought from them before. So as soon as their government attacked another country, sanctions made it impossible to buy from them. But I'm hoping, and they said that they might have to raise their prices, and they can't ship to many places right now. So I'm hoping they stay afloat because they seem like nice people and they make maybe my favorite formula ever. So I would 100% buy this again. This is one of the adventure palettes. So they did announce that they would be discontinuing the book palettes, which are the big 10 pan, and I actually have one that's the next palette here. But they would keep the eggs, which are 6 pan, and then the adventure, which are like smaller pans and 7. So this is the Mist palette. I love this palette. It's got like some green tones here, a blue, and then these cool tones right here. This one's kind of like mauve-y, and this is just like a mauve neutral brown. And then this is like literally the color of Mist. Like it's like this gray, green, blue. It's so pretty. So I would 100% buy this again. I love this palette. This is one of my favorite palettes for fall and winter, just because that gloominess, especially right now while I'm living in Seattle, this feels very Seattle. So the second palette in the little stack is also from Sigil, and it is the Wind Rose palette. So this is one of the book palettes. They will not be making these anymore just because they're expensive to ship and produce, I think. But I love these. I have 2 of the book palettes. I think there was one other one, but it was a very light color story and it was already discontinued. But I love this. So this is the same eyeshadow size as the egg palette. So an egg palette is that, and then the book adds those. You can also get these in minis. You can also get like half and half, which I think is a really interesting way of doing things. But just so you can see how much smaller these pans are. They're way smaller. And then the minis, if you buy a mini, are even smaller than this. But I love this. It's cool tones. It's so pretty. I like all of these work for me. This shade is a little too pale for me, but I can use it to buff out the edge. My only complaint is I wish like one of these masks was different. Because this one's gray. Maybe like this one was a little darker, so it just worked on my skin tone better. So it can buff out this. So if I use it to buff out this shade, then it's a little more on that pinky, like maroon side. And if I use this one, it's more gray. But that's really the only difference for me. The metallics in this are stunning. This multi-chrome is so pretty. It's showing bright green there, but if I look, I see like purple and blue, and it's so pretty. I just love the shade so much. And then there's this iridescent blue here. So I would definitely repurchase this if I had to, and I could. I'd be sad if I ever lost this. I love this. Okay, so the third palette is going to be the Team Katya palette from Trixie Cosmetics. I would probably repurchase this. I think this is really nice quality. I love the Trixie formula. This was a collaboration with Katya. So you've got a few neutrals. So this one is like the color of her skin tone apparently. So she likes to use this to buff out things or highlight. But then, you know, with a full face, it works as a highlight. It's got a nice brown. It's got a really dark brown. It's got a really good black. This blue is a great blue. The shimmers are really nice. It doesn't have any of Trixie's glittery formulas, which I do like, but I prefer the metallics. So if I missed this, I would probably buy it. I love Katya, I love Trixie, I like the formula, and it's a good travel palette because it's secure and it's got a lot of, you know, base. It's got some good neutrals, and then it's got a couple blues, which I love. So is it revolutionary color story wise? No, but I love it and the quality is nice. So yeah, I would probably repurchase this. Okay, I just realized these are kind of sorted by brand because I can now see what's in the stack. And the next one is from Lethal Cosmetics. So this is, I don't remember the name of this one. There were 3 spring palettes that came out with last year, each one of them little, and I bought all 3. This one is the, I think, Memento palette or something like that. It's got some really beautiful shades. It's got this really nice watermelon. I really like this rose gold. I like this yellow. I would repurchase this, partly because I don't see this as a standalone palette. Like, you can use this as a standalone palette and keep them in here because it came like this. But these are all magnetic, and Lethal shadows are all interchangeable and magnetic. And so it's also a collection of singles, and I have a lot of Lethal singles. I want them all. I love their formula. So you can get a nice monochromatic look with this, but you can also swap out the shades. And I've even done that where, like, I swapped out like this one and put 2 other singles in here and then took this on with me on a trip. So I would definitely repurchase this, or if any of these shades went through them or lost them, I would rebuy those shades. So I love Lethal. The next palette is also Lethal. This is the Berlin 89 palette. This is also magnetic, but a smaller pan size. So this was their first with a multi-chrome in it, and then they made the pans smaller. So this was to commemorate the Berlin Wall falling in 1989. And it is a very cute color story. I really like this. I'm trying to open them side by side so you can see. So you can see they are much smaller. You still get a lot of product in here, and they are magnetic. They just don't have the holes in the back, so they're a little harder to get out. I think this, I would definitely rebuy this. I think the color story is cute. You've got some neutrals that you can do a very easy wearable look. This transit shade is like a silver purple that's really beautiful. Breakthrough is a really nice multi-chrome. It's not as intense as some other multi-chromes I've used, but it's still beautiful. And I think a little more, especially if multi-chromes scare you, it's an easier formula because it's not as bright and as in your face, but it still has a really pretty shift. The mattes in this all work beautifully, and I think the color story fits the theme perfectly, so I would 100% buy this again. Okay, so like I said, he definitely did this in like pairs. So the next 2 palettes are both from Kaleidos. So the first is the Escape Pod. I love this palette. I didn't buy it at launch, I bought it later and do not regret it at all. So I will say, I wish these 2 oranges were a little more different. And these 2 green shimmers look pretty different here, but like they look a little different. Like this one looks a little more olive and this one looks a little more bright. On the eye, they look pretty similar, but even with that, I would repurchase this. I think the mattes up here are beautiful. I have no issues with them. I know some people said they didn't really like the blue in here. I've never had an issue with the blue. It's got a nice little range of neutrals right here if you want to stick with those. And then the shimmers in here are stunning. They are some of my favorite shimmers from any brand. So I would definitely repurchase this if I lost it or something happened to it. Even with having two shades kind of dupe themselves. The Saturnalia shade is one of my favorites. I love this. And there's been a lot of days where I used Bossa Nova and Terrace and then this over it just for like a quick neutral matte green sparkle. And then there's been a lot of days where I pick one of these three shades, Starlight Sonata, Amaretto, or Space Oasis, and just throw them on the lid with some mascara and call it a day. So I love this palette. Kaleidos is also one of my favorite brands. And the other one is the Club Nebula palette. This is my favorite palette from Kaleidos. It is discontinued now. They did a couple restocks last year and it's gone forever. And I love it so much that I almost bought a backup, but I didn't need it. I have enough makeup. It's gonna take me a long time to go through it. I didn't need a backup, but I almost did. I love this. This is, I think, their best formula, their best color story. I love it so much. Angelica Nyquist did an amazing job with this because this was her first collab palette. I think he put her newer collab palette with Odensai in my other video, which I think is funny. These are some of the best dark mattes I've ever used. I love them. It looks like I haven't used this that much, but I've used this so much that I had to make myself stop for a while, and then every once in a while I go back and use it a lot for like a week or two. It's gorgeous. It's got iridescent duochromes, virginal multichromes. It's got regular metallics. It's got blues, greens, kind of purpley neutrals, these like peaches and reds. This is the best thing they've come out with, and Angelica did an amazing job. This is maybe my favorite palette in my collection, maybe. Okay, so the next palette is Natasha Denona Circle Logo. So I got this Black Friday this last year. I did the buy one get one with this and Trio Chrome because I didn't want to spend $129 for each of them, but $65, yes. And I still feel that way. I love this palette a lot. It's her most colorful. I think it's beautiful. This cotton candy shade doesn't work on my skin tone at all, but Fun to Mine does because it's the cream to powder. Cotton candy I can use to blend out Joker, but that's it. Like I can't, if I just put it on my skin, you don't see it. I love Aerialist and Snow Cone a lot. I think Razzle Dazzle is really beautiful. I love all of these shades. I don't know if I would pay $129 for it, but 30% off, half off, something like that, I would repurchase this. I love it. I also think of her shadows as a collection of singles as well, because these are also all magnetic, and the quality is great. So even with one that doesn't work for me, I love it. Don't know if I'd buy it full price. I don't. So I have like 4 big Natasha Denona palettes, 4 or 5, and then I have 5 Pat McGrath palettes. And I've not paid full price for any of them. I've gotten them all 30 to 50% off or more. So I still don't know if I can justify forking out $100 for a palette, but maybe. But I would repurchase this, but I would hopefully be able to repurchase it on sale. Okay, and then the next palette is the Nomad Iceland palette, the Land of Fire and Ice. I love this palette. This was my first Nomad palette, and I quickly became obsessed with them as a brand, and now I'm on their PR list, and I talk to them on a not daily basis, but pretty regularly basis. And I love this palette. I think this is my favorite Nomad palette. I don't know, I haven't done a ranking, but blue is my favorite eyeshadow color, and it's got some really unique icy blues here. I really like the red, the mix of warm and cool. I don't wear these kind of bright oranges very often, but I do really like the shade Hell. This Gallows Lava shade is this really cool gray, green, grungy shade that I just love. And I love these 3 shades. So I would 1000% repurchase this. First Nomad palette, and definitely would buy this again in a heartbeat. Okay, so he definitely did pick 11 palettes, just counted. So the last two are newer palettes that I got around the holidays as well. So the first is Natasha Denona Lila. So I got this in like January because it was being discontinued and Sephora had it for half off. So it was $60 instead of $129. And I love this palette. I would definitely repurchase this. I would purchase this again over buying retro. I really like retro, but I like this more. And the shades that are the same, like Nude Mauve and Helio and I think Amara, yeah. So Nude Mauve, Amaro, and Helio, those are all in retro, but they look a little different in this. Like I've swatched them side by side and they're not identical. And I like these more. I like the way they look more and the way that they're formulated more. I think it's a really beautiful mix. You've got like the gray matte, you've got like neutrally, you've got this like that Amara shade that's got a little bit of a red tint to it. You've got some berry shades, some purples. I think this is beautiful. I think people think it's a purple palette because the packaging and it's got this bright purple here, but like it only has a couple purples and then like more like pinky purples, and the rest are pretty like cool tone neutral, but I love cool tone neutrals and I love this palette. So again, I think I would prefer to get it on sale, but I would repurchase this. I would repurchase this over Circo Loco, I think. But yeah, I would definitely repurchase this, especially on sale. So definitely recommend this. And then the last palette is the Pat McGrath Holiday Palette Celestial Odyssey. I would 1000% repurchase this. I love this palette. This is one of my top palettes of 2021. I think it's gorgeous. Try not to reflect or blind too much. It's got 4 mattes. It's got 2 more pink mattes, 2 brown mattes that work beautifully. I love the shimmers in here. This bronze, what is it, Bronze Nova? Yeah, Bronze Nova is, like I wore this straight for a week every day and still grab it a lot. It's got a big dent in it. This taupey shade is another beautiful one and done. I love the blue and the green. It's got some pretty rose gold. It's got this really beautiful lilac shade, like lavender, pale lavender. I love this. I would definitely repurchase this and definitely pay full price. Again, I love this. I love it so much I bought my best friend one, and it's one of her favorite palettes now too, I think. So she was like, I understand why people like Pat McGrath now. We had this whole conversation about like, sometimes you hate trying the nice things because then you can't go back to the cheap things because the nice things are actually worth the money. And this is definitely one of those. So I love this, and I would definitely repurchase this. Okay, so that is all 11 palettes. Let me know what you think of these, and I think I'll keep doing this. I have about 100 palettes in my collection, so I can do a decent number of these videos. So let me know if you want to see more of these, and I will keep doing them periodically. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.